Coach Mischke, track coach at ESU. So, Coach Mischke, could you go ahead and tell us a few things about yourself, your location, how many years you've been coaching, what sports have you coached, and then just a few brief highlights of your coaching career.
Sure. Grew up with mom and dad as teachers and dad as a coach, so that was just kind of that immediate environment that I was involved in, and certainly kind of locked into as I moved through my life there, and as far as hometown and high school, and then went to college, and the plan was to be an educator and a coach, and moved back to Wyoming and lived a good life, as it were. But long story short, relative to that, it certainly was something that was always in the forefront for me as far as coaching and wanting to be in that profession. And luckily for me at this point, relative to where I am, it worked out that it didn't end up being at a high school level. It got lucky enough to start at a collegiate level, and I've just been able to stay in this realm, for the last 27 years basically. So excited about it, and have been for a long time. But I grew up playing all the sports, small town Wyoming. That's just what you do. And I chose to do the sport at the next level. It was track, and really give that a hardcore effort, and see where we could take it, in all honesty. But moving forward, I went to University of Minnesota for my undergrad, and then St. Cloud State University for my graduate school stuff and being a graduate assistant. And then after those 2 years of doing that and completing that, I was offered the head job there for the men and women lacrosse and track and field, right at 25, so just right time, right place for me.
Yeah.
And certainly was a blessing. Was kind of treading water there that summer, just trying to find something to do and maybe go and get another graduate assistant position somewhere. But when the head coach at St. Cloud called and said, "Hey, this is what's happening. I'm going to move to a different position in the athletic department. We want to have you as the head coach." I jumped at the chance, obviously, and kind of drowned there for the first few years, in all honesty, with everything that I didn't know about the coaching world, that what you have to do and be okay with in terms of paperwork that's just not coaching, related. It's silly stuff, but it has to be done. So did that for 2 years, and then, or as a GA for 2 years, and then I ended up staying at St. Cloud for 11 more as the head coach, and then moved on to Black Hills State University in Spearfish, South Dakota, another Division II school. St. Cloud State was Division II as well, and was the head coach there for 10 years, 11 years. And then this previous year, I was the head coach at Chadron State College, which is in western Nebraska, before taking the job here, getting the job here. So I haven't been anything other than a Division II head track and field coach, in my life. I coached some like Little League baseball and our boys, 5th, 6th grade basketball team or whatever, but majority of the coaching has been in track and field world for sure. So and then probably the 2 highlights that I've had, I've been lucky enough to be a part of 2 national championship individual people. A pentathlete when I was at St. Cloud State, multi-eventer, Heather Miller, she was fantastic, and really had a great career there when she kind of let basketball go. She was a dual sport athlete, and then she ended up being an actual Olympian for the U.S. in 2016.
Wow, yeah.
Most collegiately, made it to the Rio de Janeiro as a pentathlete, and was a really cool thing there to kind of watch her evolve, and was actually coached and then married another one of the athletes I had at St. Cloud. They're on the team together. He coached her post collegiately, and so just fun to see that journey for those 2. And then Madison McLaughlin at Black Hills State, she was national champion of shot put. A really cool situation for her. It was she won the national title on her last throw of the competition of her career, down in Florida, winning shot put.
Wow,
her senior year, which is pretty neat.
Quite a way to go out there.
Heck of a way to go out.
Yeah.
She was 5th her sophomore year, 3rd her junior year, and then hit the big one at the right time to be 1st her senior year. So pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you've been all across the board in the Division II level. Would you say that sportsmanship is an important part of your coaching philosophy, and if so, why?
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way I was raised. You got to be able to deal with losses, deal with failure, be able to internalize it, and then learn from it. And at the end of the day, if you're not looking in the mirror before you stuff out before you start looking left or right. So for me, it's always been something that I just expect, and
Yeah.
if I see something that isn't the way I want it, then we just have a one-on-one, with that athlete or individual, where if it's a big enough problem, then we would meet with the team. But I really haven't had, situations like that, across my career, which is, maybe I've blocked them out, I don't know, but,
Yeah.
but in 27 years, it's nothing that really has stood out in terms of blatantly being disrespectful, as far as athletes I have toward other athletes or officials or whatnot. So it's certainly a part of, it's a learning process for some, but at the end of the day, man, if you can't handle losing and deal with it, then we've got some other, discussions we have to have,
So,
but it's a big thing, it really is.
so while you haven't had any, negative experiences that stick out to you, do you have an example of an event regarding good sportsmanship across your career?
Yeah, specifically, a number of years ago, we had, in the track and field world, sometimes there are mistakes made by officials relative to measurement or, things of that nature, and sometimes they're pretty hard-headed in terms of, not making it right, and just saying, well, this is what it is, and this is what it was, and here you go. So, we had a kid involved in, a jump competition where a mark was mismarked and given to, my athlete, knowing that he did not jump that, and they awarded the medals as it was on the sheet, the result sheet, and he ended up giving his medal to the second place person because he knew he didn't win. It wasn't his jump, and the other kid was actually the victor. So so that was pretty cool. To kind of see that.
That's cool, and for him to go out of his way to do that, that's really cool.
Yeah.
So, have you had any issues with players where they've been reprimanded regarding unsportsmanlike conduct during practice or competition?
Like I said before, not that pops off on the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure there were just little conversations here or there if there was something that I didn't like or something along those lines. But really, I'm all about it. It's an emotional world, and human beings are emotional. So there's going to be times and places where maybe that gets a little sketchy, and so I'm all about just making sure that the first time something like that happens, it's a calm discussion, just lining out, hey, I know you got after a little bit and your buttons are being pushed, whatever, but here's a way we can maybe deal with that next time, and then if that keeps repeating itself, then there would be something different that we would have to do in relation to that. But I think I've been lucky in that regard with what I've been able to have on team and not have to really deal with something that, that egregious, I guess. That's the right word, so.
Let's go ahead and move down to, are you familiar with the term gamesmanship?
Yeah.
How would you define gamesmanship?
Well, it's certainly, an individual's way or coach's way or whoever, to kind of push that envelope in terms of what is okay, what isn't okay, maybe not breaking rules per se, but unwritten rules, I guess, as it were, in our sport. Certainly, I'm an avid golfer, and when you're playing with the boys, and there's some talk going on, and this and that, they're just trying to get in a guy's head or a gal's head, and make them, get a little bit unfocused, and that's all well and good. It's nothing I teach. It's nothing we talk about. I've never talked about with my teams to do something like that. I'm all about performance-based gamesmanship. So you just produce a performance, and that's going to be enough for us. Put the heat on them, hit the big first throw, get the blocks nice, finish strong, let people know that at the end of the day, you're going to be there all the way to the finish line, whatever that finish line is. And the more consistent we can be at that as athletes, as a team, I think the more respect you gain, from your competitors at the end of the day. So while I see it, I hear it, it's not a huge deal for me. It's nothing that I propone or I set up and say, okay, let's try to wiggle through here and make something happen in our favor. At the end of the day, I want to, as a person, I want it to beat the people at their best. So I didn't want to do a whole lot to jeopardize that other than me just getting after it. And if my performance affects them, then so be it, in a bad way. It's not on me. That's my goal, is to try to do the best I can. And if that affects that person and kind of gets them out of their world, then hey, that's the way it is. But I'm not gonna say anything, I'm not gonna act a certain type of way, to try and, you know, perpetuate that situation. It's, hey, I wanna beat you at your best, man, or it doesn't really feel as good, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
hopefully that's what, you know, I've always, expounded out there relative to our teams and help them understand that, you know, you don't wanna win. There's a way you wanna win and there's a way you don't wanna win, and we should want to win when people are at their best.
Absolutely. So it sounds like, you know, this isn't really something you use within your teams to try and, utilize that in your coaching strategy, but would you consider, gamesmanship as taking advantage of the rules, or would you consider it to be more cheating, specifically within the realm of track and field?
Yeah, I as long as the rule isn't broken, I wouldn't consider it cheating. I wouldn't consider it immoral or any of those things. It's just a little attitude-y, you know, as maybe a term that I would use relative to it. So, I wouldn't classify it as anything that, other than something that would make me as an athlete and coach and potentially team want to really, really be the individual or the individuals, you know, that are peppering in that regard, you know. So no, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be cheating. I don't know if taking advantage of the rules, I don't know if it's that way either necessarily. It's just something that some people think they have to do to try to gain an advantage. And, you know, and like I said, in my world and hopefully our world, we're doing all that work on the track, you know, and we don't need anything else. So that should be the way it is. So
Yeah. I'll go ahead and skip down a little bit further. So have you, or could you name one positive, strategy regarding diversity on your teams? A strategy that you've used in the past?
yeah, I read that question. Again, in the teams that I've had where I've been, you know, certainly we've had some diversity, you know, more at some places, less than others. And at the end of the day, when I look at who I'm recruiting and why I'm recruiting them, or who's on the team, who was on the team for whatever reason, for me, it's always been, can this individual help us? You know, are they hard worker, dedicated, coachable? Are they talented? You know, all those things that have to come into play for us to do well. That's what I'm looking for first and foremost, you know, and if that produces diversity on the team, then great. If it doesn't, then it's not something that I'm gonna chase on purpose per se, you know. Hopefully producing an environment where the vibe is, hey, I'm an athlete on this team and the coach respects me and he's going to, or she's going to coach me as hard as he coaches or she coaches everyone else. And if we can produce that environment, then I feel like that opens all the doors to individuals that would want to be a part of that, as opposed to isolating one group over another for whatever reason. So that's always kind of been my mantra, is just, you know, an athlete's an athlete, a person's a person, and granted they bring different things to the table. But at the end of the day, we're all trying to get better, trying to improve, trying to help teammates improve, so on and so forth. And those are the types of people that I want, regardless of you know, race, religion, sexual identity, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Is this something you would, have you ever had to deal with any issues, let's say within, the players on your team? Have you ever had to address any diversity issues within people not accepting other teammates, or any issues like that?
I don't think, again, nothing that stands out per se. I think what it came down to when there were situations like that, it was just more personality, you know, conflict, as opposed to a person is this color or that color, and that's where the conflict is. It usually for us was just coming down to personalities, you know. This person is this color and they have this personality, and this person this color and this personality, and that's where the conflict is, because, you know, the other situation. So, so just the little things, you know, here and there, but again, at the end of the day, it's just not everyone's gonna get along, you know, on a team, even though we are a family. Families usually have drama, and that's the way life is sometimes, so you're just trying to find that place where everybody can be pretty level-headed and even-keeled and be able to get along and produce, you know, with each other, even though we may not be the best of friends.
Absolutely. Thank you for your time, great answers all around, and I appreciate you being here for the interview.
Yeah, you bet, it was fun.
Thank you.